For the next 10 minutes here, we're going to be working on ankle stability. So we're going to be going through a couple of exercises to strengthen the ankles. So starting lying on their backs, we're going to be going through the ranges of motion in our ankles. So flexing and pointing the feet, rotating through the ankles. Just continue to move and warm up the ankle joint. You can flex one foot while the other one points. Continue alternating, really just trying to bring a lot of movement to the ankles. We're going to hug our knees in, continue to move the ankles around, keep them nice and warm, warm up that joint there. Maybe even notice if one ankle has more mobility than the other. Then from here, just hug the knees in and begin to rock up and down the spine, all the way down to the tailbone and all the way up to the upper back. As you rock up onto your sit bones, see if you can pause here for just a second. See if you can use a little bit of that core control to pause right up on your sit bones. Good, and then from here, see if you can rock yourself all the way up onto the toes, coming into a squat up on the toes. Do that 2 more times. Pausing at the top, rocking back, swing yourself forward onto the toes. Very good. This time swinging back, coming into a squat, so feet widen. Rocking back 2 more times into your squat. Last time as you rock back, pausing up in your squat. We're going to come back to that high toe squat, swing back, rock forward up onto the toes. Maybe see if you can lift the heels up nice and high, come up higher. Good. Rock back again onto the toes, lift the heels up a little bit higher, and rock back. And last time, swing forward, heels up nice and high. Very good. We're going to swing back again. We're going to rock onto the toes again, come up high onto the toes. This time, staying up on the toes, slowly begin to stand up onto the legs, reaching up high. Staying on the toes, slowly lowering yourself all the way back down into that high squat. Very good. Rock yourself back. We're going to do that 2 more times. Rock forward, up onto the toes, lift the heels nice and high. See with how much control you can lift yourself all the way up. Reach up through the fingertips, come up high onto the toes. Slowly, with control, begin to lower yourself back down into that squat. And rock back 1 last time onto the toes. Lift the heels up nice and high. Slowly begin to lift yourself up. Reach up through the fingertips, stay up high onto the toes. It's okay if you stumble. That's why we're working on our stability. Good job. On an exhale, lower your heels down and shake out the legs and the ankles if you need to. You can move yourself back to the center of your mat. We're going to begin to ground ourselves through that left foot. When you're ready, cross that right leg over top of the left. Place the toes down for balance to start. Cross the left arm over top of the right, bend at the elbows and bring the palms together. Reach the elbows away, sink down into your hips. If you feel stable, begin to lift the toes, those right toes off of the mat. And if it's accessible to you, maybe even wrapping those right toes behind the left calf. Just ensure that your left knee is tracking over the toes. Sink down here, squeeze the legs together, squeeze the arms together. Make sure that you're not collapsing into the chest. Squeeze everything to the midline. Pick a point on the ground for your focus. Inhale as you slowly unwind. Keep that right leg lifted. We're going to begin to hinge forward, coming into a warrior 3. Hands on the hips to ensure that the hips stay nice and level, that right hip doesn't want to hike up. Extend that left leg back. You can keep the arms on the hips. You can extend them out to the sides, or you can extend them straight forward. Reach out through the crown of the head and the heel or the balls of the feet. Begin to hinge yourself back up. Hug that right knee in towards your chest. Release it down to the ground and shake out that left foot. Do that on the opposite side. So begin to ground through the right side. Cross the left leg over the right, coming into that kickstand. This time, right arm is going to cross over top of the left, bringing the palms together. Begin to sink the hips down. If you feel ready, you can lift those toes off of the mat. And if it's accessible, seeing if you can tuck the right toes behind the left calf. Again, squeezing everything to center. Seeing if you can continue to sink the hips down a little bit further. Make sure the alignment of that right knee is going over the toes. Inhale as you slowly release. Keep that left foot lifted as you begin to hinge yourself forward into your warrior three. Reach that left heel back as you reach forward through the crown of your head. Reach out through your arms. Make sure that left hip isn't hiking up higher than the right. Very good. On an inhale, hinge yourself forward before touching that left foot down. Squeeze it into the chest, then release. And shake out that right foot. Good. We're going to go through that again on either side. And if you'd like, you can add a little bit of a challenge. So, grounding through that left foot once again, crossing the right foot over top. When right foot crosses over top, then left arm crosses over top of the right. Bend at the elbows. Bring the palms together. Reach the elbows away to get a nice stretch in the backs of the shoulders. Sink your hips down. When you're ready, and if you're ready, lifting those right toes off of your mat. You can stay here, or if you want a little bit of a challenge, see if you can begin to lift that left heel off of your mat. It's quite challenging. See if you can come up onto the toes, slowly pumping that heel up and down, maybe eventually one day balancing completely on the ball of the foot. Very good. Gently release. Keep that right leg up as you hinge yourself forward into your warrior three. Reaching that right foot back. Crown of head extends in the opposite direction. You guessed it. We're going to do the same thing here. Lifting that left heel up. Seeing if you can pump the left heel up and down. Seeing if you can find some moments lifting up on the ball of your foot. You can hinge yourself back forward, hug that knee in. Shake out the standing leg, then bring the top of that left foot onto your mat. Gently press into the mat to get a nice stretch on the front of that left ankle. We'll switch sides here, grounding through the right side. Left leg crosses over. Opposite arm, so the right arm crosses over top of the left. Sink yourself down. This is called our eagle pose. Lift those left toes off the mat if you can. Sink the hips a little bit lower. Once you feel nice and stable here, see if you can begin to lift that right heel off of your mat. Slowly lifting up and coming back down. Lifting up again and coming back down, seeing if you can increase the amount of time that you can stay balanced on the ball of that left foot. It helps to squeeze everything to center and pick a nice gaze, a point to gaze at on the ground. Gently release, hands on the hips as you begin to hinge forward into your warrior three here. I find keeping my hands on my hips in my warrior three while lifting up onto the ball of the foot is much easier and a good place to start than extending the arms out to the sides or forward. So work here on trying to lift that heel up. It's okay to stumble. Hug that left knee in, gently release, shake out the legs. We'll do the same thing on the right side, top of the foot onto your mat, gently press to get a nice stretch onto the front of that right ankle. And that's it, you're done. Good job.